Sup, dudes and dudettes? Emo Gamer Fuckboy here, everybody's favorite YouTuber, the guy with controversial opinions. So I've got another topic to touch upon. Another thing involving remakes of PS1 games. I'm not sure what the deal with that is. Me and them damn remakes. Before I say anything else, I'm just gonna say that I love the original 3 Spyro games. I think they're some of the best games ever made. They've aged pretty fucking well, all things considered, and they're absolute classics. Now, even with that said, I'm sure there are plenty of people, or at least one person in particular, that's gonna be like, oh, what are you doing talking about how the classic Spyro games are amazing classics? You wouldn't know. You weren't around when they first came out. You weren't even fucking born yet. I mean, I probably was. But, whatever. I was at least very young when they first came out, but that doesn't mean I can't buy them, play them, and appreciate them, which I just so happen to do all 3 things, and I love the hell out of them. The very first Spyro game I ever played was The Legend of Spyro New Beginning, which, granted, I didn't like that game. Not even as a kid, I didn't like that game very much. It's not really for the reasons you might think. And I've actually grown somewhat of an appreciation for that one, but it's definitely not my favorite Spyro game, and I can see a lot of people's problems with it. It wasn't until years later that I played Spyro 1 and fell absolutely in love with that game, and then it wouldn't be for another 2 years that I would play Spyro 2 and 3 and fall in love with those games too. The original Spyro Trilogy on PS1 is absolutely amazing. All great classics. I love a lot of the PS1 games. The only ones I could never really get into were Tomb Raider because they've aged, and if it's because I'm not old enough to properly appreciate them, then I guess that's the case. Now if that's out of the way, let's bring up the topic at hand. Spyro Reignited Trilogy. It's coming out tomorrow. Some of the more relevant YouTubers got access to it early. I'm not one of them, obviously. I just figured this is something that's been going through my head for a while now, but I haven't really gotten around to making a video about it. And I figure, with the little time left we have before it releases tomorrow, I'm gonna express my thoughts on this, whether you like it or not. But before that, a question. Why the fuck did Spyro Reignited Trilogy get delayed for 2 months? No, really, what was the reason? They said, I think they said they were listening to customer feedback. Or I don't know, maybe it's just some personal issues they had, I don't know. Maybe they had to work out some bugs and glitches and shit, and they had to polish it up to make it as good as they could make it. But the biggest issue everybody was addressing was the fact that not all the games were going to be on disc. that only the first game was going to be on the disc and that you were going to have to download Spyro 2 and 3. That was the biggest issue. The thing everyone and their fucking mother was bitching about. And then, not too long after that, I found out that the game was going to be delayed for 2 months, and I'm like, good. Maybe now they can finally address that issue. Fast forward 2 months later, they didn't even do anything about it. I mean, I heard that some of the stages from Spyro 2 and 3 are going to be on the disc, but not the whole games. The only full game on the disc is going to be Spyro 1. You're going to have to download the other two. Which probably means you're just better off getting the game digitally, because fucking might as well. If not even half of it is on disc anyway, you might as well just get it digitally. How do I feel about this? Well, I don't know what to say, because if I bitch about this at all, if I say anything negative about Reignited Trilogy, whether it has to do with shitty business decisions or just what I think about the game in general, even though it doesn't come out yet, so I can't really judge. The game itself looks great. The character designs look amazing, the graphics look amazing. Tom Kenny's reprising his role as Spyro, which is fucking awesome. Because they could have just as easily got somebody new, which I'm sure a lot of people would have been pissed off about, because you know how people can be when it comes to games getting revoiced. So many people were fucking bitching about Castlevania Requiem having the revoiced version of Symphony of the Night, because, you gotta have that old voice acting. You gotta play the game the way you played it as a kid, otherwise it's not even worth your fucking time. But we're not here to talk about that. In fact, I'd probably be better off never even mentioning that game again. Whatever the case may be. I'm rather glad that Tom Kenny reprised his role as Spyro, because he did a really great job as Spyro, and nobody else can really be Spyro. I mean, I didn't really have an issue with Elijah Wood's performance in Spyro: A New Beginning. I thought Elijah Wood did an okay job as Spyro, but maybe not as Spyro per se, but he did a good job in general. Like, his acting performance was pretty good. I mean, this is Elijah Wood we're talking about. He's a pretty well-known actor, Frodo in Lord of the Rings. But to be honest, that's probably the only role people know him for. I can't even think of anything else he was in. Either way, he did a good job. And another good thing about A New Beginning is they got a lot of big name voice actors, like Gary Oldman. Gary Oldman as Ignitus was pretty nice. He did a really good job too. Don't agree with David Spade as Sparks. That's the only one I didn't agree with. Like, Sparks didn't even talk in the original games, and in the later games when they gave him a voice, his voice was literally just like... He was never, the fucking, smart-ass David Spade. Just like, why David Spade? I'm not hating on David Spade, but why David Spade as Sparks? Why? Anyway, getting a little off topic there. It's great that they're keeping the same voice actors, at least in Tom Kenny's case. I think they might have changed the voices of some of the other characters, but based on the trailers, it's all good stuff. Like, it's all good. Everything about it looks to be really good. except for the fact that the game isn't gonna be complete if you get it physically. And everybody's main concern with that is, what about the people who don't have a stable internet connection and just want to play the game, pop it in, get the full experience? I can understand that, because if you buy the game, you put $40 on that fucking thing expecting to get all 3 games, and you only get one of them because you don't have access to internet and you can't play the other 2 games, you're just kind of stuck with Spyro 1, a remake of Spyro 1, and that's it. Now, if it was advertised as a remake of Spyro 1, I guess that'd be fine. But, I don't think people would want to pay $40 for a remake of just Spyro 1, and not the other 2 games. You're paying $40 expecting to get all 3 games, and you only get one of them because you don't have access to internet and can't get the other ones. And for those people, that sucks hard. But it's just kind of how things are these days. It seems like these days you absolutely cannot get a complete game day one. Games come out and they're either buggy as fuck day one, or fighting games have a very, very bare bones character roster day one, and they have to keep adding DLC to it. Like Street Fighter V. Anybody remember Street Fighter V? I didn't play that game when it first came out, for good reasons. Well, for one, I didn't have a PS4 at the time, but even if I did, I would not have gotten that game day one. Because... That character roster was bare bones as fuck, and they had to keep adding to it with DLC, and even 2 years later, they finally have an arcade mode in that bitch, but the character selection is still kinda bare bones. And, a lot of games come out, they're buggy as fuck, and have to be constantly fixed with patch after patch after patch after patch after patch after patch. And by the time they've patched it 50 times, nobody gives a shit anymore. And the day one reviews that say, that the fucking 50% on Metacritic and the 40% on Metacritic, whatever on Metacritic, no matter how many times you patch it, you're not gonna fix that. But that's not the point. The point is, so many things are digital. Castlevania Requiem was digital only. And a lot of other shit. I've bought digital games, I have access to internet, all that jazz. There was a time when I didn't, which really sucked for me. But now I do. But it's not very stable. So I actually have to painstakingly unplug my system and move it closer to the internet. Because, I'm in a back bedroom and all the fucking internet equipment's in the living room, and we're separated by a fucking long ass hallway, so it doesn't really reach back here very well. So I constantly have to move towards the internet because it can't reach me from here. But at least I have my methods. Some people don't even have that much, and it really sucks for them. If you have at least something, some way to access the internet, it is good to take advantage of that. Back when I didn't have internet, I had to go over to my friend's house and download shit at his house, bring my fucking console over, and be like, hey, can I use your internet, bruh? Thanks, bruh. Okay, I'll be on my way now, bruh. But some people don't even have that option, so yeah, would have been really nice if they could have just like have this be like a 3-disc compilation thing. I mean, again, bringing up Capcom, what Capcom did with Mega Man X Legacy Collection 1+2, it was all 8 Mega Man X games, all 8 main series Mega Man X games. We're not talking like the spin-offs here, like Mega Man Extreme on the Game Boy and Mega Man X Command Mission. All 8 mainline games, all 8 numbered titles. You had 4 of them on disc 1 and the other 4 on disc 2. It was evenly spread across both discs. And it was just a really neat compilation. And no day 1 downloads required. You could just pop either one of the discs in, play whichever fucking Mega Man X game you wanted to play, whether you wanted to re-experience Mega Man X1, or you were trying out Mega Man X8 for the first time because you didn't buy it when it first came out. Whatever the case, whatever you want to do, you had access to all of it immediately. No fucking day 1 downloads required. So it's like, if you couldn't fit all of them on 1 disc, the least you could have fucking do it was had it be a 2-disc or 3-disc compilation, however many you had to have to make sure everybody had access to the full fucking game without the goddamn downloads, because chances are, if you play an offline game, you're expecting to play it offline. I mean, common sense, right? Huh? What a novel fucking concept. What? An offline game that I can play without having to access the internet? What? Damn, man. Anyway, all jokes aside, I mean, it's a really shitty business decision, but I kind of get why they did it. They did it to save money. And, I mean, it is Activision, I mean, and not to say Activision is bad company, but I mean, they put out good games, but yeah, I mean, you know, we're talking about the same Activision that puts out, like, pretty much the same game every year. You know what I'm talking about? Don't act like you don't know. You know. You know. So stop looking at me like that. You know. You know what I'm talking about. Same game every year. Non-stop. Just stop, please. Like, you know, there's a reason that I mean, because Activision used to make Spider-Man games, but I'm pretty sure there's a reason that they shifted companies for the new one, because they actually wanted it to be good. I joke, of course, but isn't it ironic? Okay, like Spyro used to be owned by Insomniac, okay, but now it's owned by Activision. Spider-Man used to be owned by Activision, now it's owned by Insomniac. But I mean, at least they did a good job with Crash Insane Trilogy. I think. I didn't play that one. I played the original Crash games. But it's weird. I played the original Crash games the year Insane Trilogy came out. Like the year Crash was insanely popular again. I was first playing the original PS1 games because I got them on PSN. So that's when I was first playing those, and my friend was like, "Hey, you pick up Insane Trilogy?" Yeah, or wait, I didn't even have a PS4 at the time. I didn't get a PS4 till this year. But anyway, he was playing that, and I was playing the original games. And he's like, so you gonna pick up Insane Trilogy when you get a PS4? I'm like, I just played the original games, and I mean, I guess I wouldn't mind playing them again, but if I want to play them again, I'll just play them again. But, all jokes aside, I mean, I'm getting Reignited Trilogy, just because I fucking love Spyro to death. Like many people, even though I didn't grow up with the games. But just because I didn't grow up with the games doesn't mean I don't get to play them, and it doesn't mean I don't get to love them, and it doesn't mean I don't appreciate them for what they were and what they are, which are games that have aged insanely well and didn't even really need a remake, to be honest. But if it had just been another port over, kind of would have felt lazy, and they already had the Insane Trilogy, so it only made sense that they'd remake those ones too. I mean, and when Insane Trilogy came out, I was like, oh cool, Crash games, getting a remake. That's cool for the people who really love that series. I like Crash 2. I like Crash 2 as well. I like Crash as well. Crash in general, not just Crash 2. Crash 3 is probably my favorite, actually. All the Crash games, except Crash 1 has kind of aged, but oh, Crash Bandicoot, good shit. It's just, I'm one of the very few people, if not the only person, that likes Spyro more than Crash. Which is why Reignited Trilogy appeals more to me. Doesn't mean I'm never gonna pick up Insane Trilogy, but Insane Trilogy is older than Spyro. Like Insane Trilogy is older than Reignited Trilogy. It's at least a year old, maybe 2. And yet, it's still $40. Meanwhile, Reignited Trilogy is launching at $40. So at this point, I don't really feel like picking up Insane Trilogy until it drops price at least a little bit, even if only by $10. Even if it was $30, I'd probably get it. As for Reignited Trilogy, probably hopping on that shit right away. Even though I kind of hate Activision for doing what they're doing right now. Well, not hate them, but I'm disappointed. I'm like, why? You delay the game for 2 months, and you don't even address everybody's biggest issue with the fucking game? Then why'd you delay it? Why'd you delay the game for 2 fucking months? It seems like you just delayed the game for 2 fucking months for no fucking reason. What were they doing all that time? Just twiddling their fucking thumbs? Just being like, da-da-da, typing on the keyboard, I'm doing things. Fucking doing lines of cocaine. I don't goddamn know what they were doing for 2 months. What were you doing for 2 months? What were you doing for 2 months? If you weren't even gonna address everybody's biggest issue, why couldn't it just come out in September? Like it was originally supposed to. You had to delay the game for 2 fucking months, and you didn't do anything. I don't know that for sure. Again, they could have been ironing out some bugs and glitches, which, great. I mean, I don't want tons of bugs and glitches in my fucking Spyro. The only bugs I want in Spyro are the ones that were already there. Okay? The only bug I want to see in Spyro is Sparks the fucking Dragonfly. That's the only bug I want to see in Spyro. It's the only bug I want to see in Spyro. As long as it's not voiced by David Spade. I draw the line at David Spade. Not because I hate David Spade, but because Sparks as David Spade as Sparks doesn't fucking work. It doesn't fucking work. It doesn't. If there's anybody out there that thinks it works, okay. Yeah, I don't know what's wrong with you. But everybody's entitled to their own opinions, including me. Except that not everybody else, not a lot of other people really seem to see it that way. But yeah. I'm gonna stop talking before this video goes on any longer. I just really wanted to express my thoughts on this. It's kind of ridiculous, but it's not gonna affect the quality of the game itself. It does mean that Activision is kind of cruddy for doing it, but you know, whatever. It's not like other companies aren't guilty of this. There's a whole bunch of Switch games too that are like part of the game on the cartridge, and the rest is just like a download code or something. Which, what happens when that download code expires? Unless it's not even a download code. I don't know. I'm gonna end this video before it goes on any longer and I look like a bigger fucking retard than I've already made myself out to be, already might even be. Retarded is an offensive term. I need to stop being an offensive person. But hey, if you find me offensive, the feelings are mutual. I find you offensive for finding me offensive. Them damn Eminem references. Yeah, but I'm gonna fucking end this video here because I suck at everything. I admit that. But I will see you, buttheads later with more shitty videos. More shitty rant videos or a review maybe at some point, and maybe more shitty Let's Plays that everybody's gonna dislike. But whatever's time to go. Fuck.